Hi, I'm Kyla Lee. I'm a lawyer with Acumen Law Corporation, and I'm here to talk about breath sampling and mouth temperature. Recently, the Superintendent of Motor Vehicles posted a new version of the AlcoSensor FST, roadside breathalyzer, manual on their website. This version says that it's not necessary for police officers to wait 5 minutes after an individual has an object removed from their mouth. The problem that I have with this is that the AlcoSensor FST manual produced by the manufacturer, as well as the Intox ECIR2 manual, both dictate that an approved waiting period is necessary to allow mouth temperature to stabilize when taking breath samples. And I want to demonstrate for you today why mouth temperature is an important factor in the reliability of breath sample readings. So to conduct this experiment today, I'm going to use an AlcoSensor FST device. This is the same device that's used by the police at the roadside, and I've checked mine for calibration myself using a dry gas alcohol standard and ensured that it's within the recommended calibration limits. You turn the device on by pressing the on button, and it'll check the temperature, do some internal diagnostics before being ready to accept a sample. When the screen reads below, the device is ready to accept a sample. The device has now collected my sample and is analyzing it, and it will produce the reading on the screen of the device. It'll give me a beep when it's ready. So 0.024, 24 milligrams of alcohol in 100 milliliters of blood is my blood alcohol level. 0.08 is the legal limit. 0.05 is the limit in BC, so I could technically drive right now if I wanted to, although I won't because I have more of this experiment to show to you. The science behind breath testing is very interesting. It works on a principle called Henry's Law, which you may remember from your grade 7 science classes, or if you're like me, you probably don't remember much of grade 7 science. But essentially Henry's Law is this. At a given temperature, the saturated vapor above a solution contains a concentration of the solute proportional to the concentration of the solute in the solution. And I'm sure you're now hearing words you remember like solute and concentration and solution. If you have salt water, and this is just normal tap water, but if you have salt water, the concentration of salt in evaporated vapor above a saltwater solution is going to be the same at a proportional level of salt in the salt water at a particular temperature to that solution. For breath testing, it assumes that at 34 degrees Celsius, your normal human body temperature, the blood alcohol level is going to be the same at a proportional level as the alcohol in the expelled air that you breathe from your deep lung air. The concentration is assumed using a proportion of 2100 to 1. So when you breathe into one of these devices, it requires you to expel 2.1 liters of air at a rate of 1.2 liters per minute in order to obtain the deep lung air and to get the air that will result in a blood alcohol level that is in excess of the limit, if it's in excess of the limit, or proportional to what your blood alcohol level is. The problem that arises with breath testing is when you change the temperature of your mouth, you change the temperature of the expelled air. And so I'm going to demonstrate that now. So this is just a glass of plain ice water. What'll happen when I drink the ice water and swish the ice around in my mouth is it's going to cool down the temperature of my mouth. When I then blow into the breathalyzer, it's going to produce a reading that is falsely lower than the 0.024 reading that was calculated earlier. Watch. Oh, I cover my mouth. It's now calculating my reading. My tongue is numb. 0.019. So you can see my blood alcohol level reading dipped by 6 milligrams of alcohol in my blood, assumedly, just based on me putting an ice cube in my mouth for a few seconds prior to blowing. This is the problem with objects in the mouth. They can falsely affect the temperature of your mouth. Think about if you have something in your mouth that's not ordinarily there, like a piercing or a denture or something like that. It's going to unstabilize the temperature of your mouth. And I just demonstrated that using ice. Now, when we take hot objects into our mouth, like drinking a pot of hot coffee, or, well, probably not the whole pot. When we take objects into our mouth that are hot, objects that have a higher temperature, they elevate the temperature of our mouth. So the next thing I'm going to do is show how the blood alcohol reading goes up based on a hotter mouth. Now I'm going to take hot water into my mouth and show how it affects the temperature of the mouth and the ultimate blood alcohol reading that's obtained. I have here a cup of ordinary tap water that I've heated up using a kettle. You can see the steam rising off the top. I'm going to take this into my mouth and heat up the temperature of my mouth while the breathalyzer is getting ready in order to show you an elevated blood alcohol reading. It's so hot. What we're expecting to see is a higher blood alcohol level than we had originally received. 0.027. So we've gone from 0.024 to 0.019, now up to 0.027, just by manipulating the temperature of my breath. When you introduce objects into your mouth, it can manipulate the temperature of your mouth to make higher or lower blood alcohol readings depending on what your mouth temperature is. That's why it's fundamentally important for police to wait before taking a breath sample if an object has been in the mouth. Even a few degrees difference in your mouth temperature can affect the reliability of a sample. And because these are proportional readings using an underlying blood alcohol concentration, the higher your underlying blood alcohol concentration, the higher the impact the mouth temperature will have on the reliability of the reading. The colder your mouth, the more significantly lower the reading will be. The hotter your mouth, the more significantly higher the reading will be. Police need to follow proper procedures, and this experiment today demonstrates that the changes to the breathalyzer manual are not effective and not accurate. We at Acumen Law Corporation are very concerned that police do not follow proper scientific procedure in breath testing, particularly in immediate roadside prohibition cases. That's why I conduct these experiments, why I do the testing, and why we have the equipment necessary to ensure reliable readings and the circumstances in which reliable readings are obtained. If you've been affected by a driving prohibition that you think was not your fault or that was unjustly served to you, call me. I can help you determine the scientific factors that went into the reliability of your breath sample reading. My number is 604-685-8889, or you can reach me on Twitter at IRP Lawyer. IRP, call Kyla Lee.